Lights, camera, action.
In a studio where local filmmakers talk to other filmmakers about the inside world of film.
Cut.
That's not the script. It. We'll fix it in post. Do you wonder how films are produced and what really goes on behind the scenes? Well, stand by. Filmmakers Kevin Munfrey, Victoria V.A. Jones, and Carson Hype Ferguson explain all the details. Right here on It. We Will Fix It in Post podcast.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Whenever you're listening, I thank you for doing so. I am Kevin Munfrey, and this is once again We'll Fix It in Post. I'm here with my colleagues, Carson Hype Ferguson.
Sure.
And Victoria V.A. Jones.
What's going on?
Today we're talking to a filmmaker out of New York. His name is Micheal Pizzano. I got it right?
Yeah, Micheal Pizzano, you got it.
All right. Yeah, it's a little bit of anxiety every time you're ready to say somebody's name.
Huh.
So, where did your love of film begin?
It's funny. It's hard to really place where it began because I can't remember a time where I wasn't in love with films. But my earliest memories, I think, is probably watching the original Star Wars movie as a kid. I don't think I really understood what was going on in the actual movie, but just being amazed by the entire thing, just being blown away by it.
So as a person who don't watch Star Wars, what is it about Star Wars that
come on, man. Come on.
You know what's really funny about it, especially in light of all the anger, myself included, towards some of the newer products. I'm not talking about The Mandalorian because that show's gold, but some like the sequel trilogy and whatnot. When you really break it down, especially with a lot of like Star Wars critics who say they love Star Wars but criticize, the prequel trilogy and the sequel trilogy, it's kind of like, most people who love Star Wars, I feel like, don't really like the series. You know what I mean? It's like we all agree that The Empire Strikes Back is amazing. We all like the original movie. People kind of half like Return of the Jedi. And then there's a lot of criticisms for all of the rest of the series. That makes most of us fans only really like 30% of the entire franchise. So I kind of wonder, does anybody really like Star Wars? I mean, I love it, but sometimes I question my own love of the series.
Do you watch Star Trek at all? Because I know there's like this whatever battle between the two.
Oh yeah. My entire family's huge Trekkie fans. I'm a big fan of the show. Yeah, I'm a big fan of all of it. I love the new series Discovery that's been out. I find the whole series is fantastic. It kind of dials up to the Star Trek insanity like immediately in the first season. Just like as soon as you get into it, it's very good.
It's a good show. Like I grew up on Star Trek because my mom was a big fan. So watching Star Trek, it was. I'm a Star Trek person, not a Star Wars. But Star Wars was cool.
I think it's I think it's overlap. I mean, because like I watch both. Like my dad was more Trek, and my mom would watch like Wars only because it's probably movies rather than a TV show.
Yeah. Which of the Star Treks?
Myself, Deep Space Nine was like the big one because that was family time with Dad, and then he was always scoffing at Worf, Worf was the I can't even remember what race he was now. Man, that's gonna drive me crazy. I'm gonna have to look that up. I can't remember. Well, actually, no, Worf was a Klingon, right?
Yeah, look it up.
Man, you might as well be talking to me about math.
Well, I say go ahead with the interview, and I'm gonna look it up.
All right, we're moving on. So, what directors or actors inspired you when you were young?
Kind of tying into the whole Star Wars thing. I'm obviously big Harrison Ford fan. Indiana Jones were my favorite movies growing up. Big Spielberg fan. I feel like I go through phases. Every year I kind of get attached to one actor and I kind of start following their work, or one filmmaker, and I start following their work. This year I'm kind of just doing everything that has to do with Chadwick Boseman. I find all of his work to be fantastic. It's such a tragedy that we lost him. Before that I was kind of just diving into everything that's DiCaprio. It's weird. It's like I go through phases. A lot of times I'll notice I know like somebody's work and there's more I need to catch up on. It's like, in terms of who's a storyteller, who I absolutely adore, I'm a huge Stephen King fan. That's more books rather than than movies, but I find myself every couple of years, I just need to get back into the world of Stephen King because he has a very particular type of writing. So, no matter what book you pick up on of his, you feel like you're back in that kind of Stephen King world.
So what kind of movies do you study as far as a filmmaker? Like you'll go back and you'll look at it. Is there like a certain movie that you'll go back and be like, okay, that's how they did it?
It's funny because it's really any kind of movie that moves me. You know what I mean? And I'm somebody who can, I'll get moved to almost tears sometimes very easily when it comes to a movie if it's done really well. Like the other day, where I was watching Elf with my girlfriend and my mom, and that final scene when the sleigh, spoiler alert, that final scene where everything works out and the music plays and the sleigh lifts up. It's like, oh my god, I almost feel like myself getting misty-eyed. Meanwhile, this is just a cute little kids movie about elves. So it's really anything that can make me really feel something is a movie that I'm going to go back and just really take a look at, read the script, feel, try to figure out, okay, this is what it was like when it was written versus how it, translated and came to life on screen.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting that you can still kind of get lost in a movie while actually being able to direct movies. So like you're able to watch films and not, I say doctors are the worst patients, where you're not just kind of looking at like the writing or how the scene is shot. So you're able to kind of take that director's hat off when watching movies?
It's funny. It's difficult to do. But when, I think that might even be a sign of a great movie if I can, finally shut my brain off and just enjoy it, I do have that kind of doctor's the worst patient moment with a lot of the things I watch, but it doesn't really, ruin it for me. I feel like I can at least keep it internal and not bother all the people I'm watching the movie with, which, kind of half the battle there. But, it's I am able to enjoy it. And I think if a movie can really make you just, step outside yourself for a moment and just feel everything that they're trying to make you feel, then that's a very, very successful movie to me.
So are you, like when you go to a movie like Family Member, you watching with family members, friends, or even your lady, you're not like kind of, see, they messed this up here, or no, they should have did this.
That happens, but I try to keep it internal until after the movie's done. like when we went to see the Last Jedi and Princess Leia went flying through space. I feel like that was something I was able to keep inside. As soon as we left the theater, I was like, "What the hell? What the hell's going on here?"
Yeah. Right. That's what I had to learn because I used to do it out loud, and then I'll be watching it with somebody or family members, and they will get mad at me, and I'm like, "Well, it's fake. You can look. Let me rewind it back. Look at it, and they would get mad at me. I'm sorry.
As long as it's not too egregious, I'm straight. I mean, like if it's really, really bad, you'd be like, come on.
Like if you see the boom mic.
What? No, I'm like not even that. Really, it's like anything that like just super, super distracting to take you out of the story.
Right.
Be like, wait, hold up. That don't make any sense for what the story that they're telling right now. Because, they'll have a backstory, all this stuff, character lead up.
Yeah.
And then the character will do something that the character shouldn't do.
Right.
Whatsoever. Like, I mean, you're forcing the character to do something that in this universe you provided, that character would never do that according to the personality traits and everything else that you led us to believe.
Right.
Unless this dude just started, smoking meth, like 2 seconds ago. Now all of a sudden, like he's doing stuff that doesn't make any sense. But
then they hit you with it's just a movie.
Yeah, man, I hate that. I hate that.
Oh,
be like, oh man, I was in a clubhouse room a couple nights ago and they were talking about that. Like, oh, it's just pretend. I was like, no, it matters. Yeah. It matters in the story, in the grand scheme of the story.
Right.
I mean, because if Goldilocks went to the 3 little bears, and when the bears came home, she had a machine gun. you'd be like, but then again, that might work in this reality.
I'll be honest. I was thinking I would be interested in that story.
This might work in this reality. Yeah. I mean, like Abraham Lincoln was a vampire hunter at one point in time.
What movie was
that? Yeah, it was Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. You never seen that?
No.
Oh, it's glorious.
Yeah. It's everything you want.
Oh man, the vampire threw a live horse at Abraham Lincoln.
What movie is this?
Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Oh my God!
Oh man! Just grandiose.
Yeah. And with that title, you know, they don't disappoint. It's everything you want from a movie called Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
And you know, after the movie was over, I was like, you know, if the vampire threw a horse at me, I don't think I'll be running after him no more. He threw a horse at you, and I was like, oh man.
Okay, I'm definitely making a note to watch that.
But what about you? What movies and filmmakers do you guys follow? I mean, I'm always interested in hearing what's inspired other people.
For me, I like comedy, so like an Issa Rae. I do Steven Spielberg. Mainly those two. Ava DuVernay, just kind of just different styles or whatever. But usually I usually don't even look into the filmmaker until it's like something about, like, I'll say the first filmmaker that kind of caught my attention was Spike Lee. And it was mainly because of that moving shot, that shot where everything else is moving, but the character isn't.
The Spike Lee shot.
And exactly. So I was like, wait, how does that happen?
Yeah, it's like surreal.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even to this day, I know what it is now, but when I was a kid, I was like, is my eyes fooling with me? Something's off.
It definitely puts you in that mood. I mean, Spike Lee was probably one of the first filmmakers that actually heard, like, speak.
Yeah.
Of course, Ridley Scott, Ryan Coogler, you know, new school generation, because like I think Ryan is brilliant. Ridley, because of the business side of the house and him understanding that if he wants to have more control of his vision, he has to understand the business side.
Yeah.
He has to make the economics and all that stuff work. Tim Burton, because like his stuff his stuff is just like so like off the wall, but it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he creates that Tim Burton world that you just settle into while you're watching the movie.
Yeah.
It's kind of like going in somebody's head.
Yeah.
So he gives you an idea of what's in his head.
Yeah.
It's just, it's like crazy.
And there's so many actors that I follow. So, I mean, I
you know what?
Start.
Yeah, you reminded me another person I want to add to the list, Wes Anderson.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, really, I love The Grand Budapest Hotel. That movie is just so, I don't know, just works. Everything about it's just great.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. For me, it's half and half, because I grew up on television. Charmed is one of my favorite shows. So that's the show that I go back to and rewind and fast forward and watch. Ava DuVernay is one of my favorites. All her films. I love Shonda Rhimes is another one. I'm a drama person. So if you put drama in there and romance in there, you got me.
So Real Housewives?
No.
You can't get no more drama than that.
No, that's not good drama.
You put that nice music in the background when they throw that glass.
That's not good drama. It's for me. It's power. It's female empowerment. So characters who are females who bring out their best. That's what I'm going for right there. So yeah.
Now, when kind of go on to your project that you kind of have out now, Lockdown Living, what inspired it for you?
Oh, well, I guess real life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I produce branded content, and I work as a permalancer. So I'm not on staff, but I pretty much have a set thing going. And I had that going on, and then I had 2 or 3 short films on deck for 2020, and then it was that second week of March that where like everything just kind of went to hell. You know what I mean? It's that second week where it's like this isn't going to be too bad, and then it's like, all right, New York City state of emergency, New Jersey state of emergency, New York State.
You were the first ones. First major city to call it.
Yeah, and that was a terrifying time. There were you read in the newspaper how like the hospitals are so overloaded. They're like putting up tents in like the park and to just make room. It was scary. So I live in Washington Heights, and I moved. We figured my mom's up in the Bronx. We're like, all right, well, we should stick together instead of both being separated. What's the point of that? So I moved back home with her, and then all production shut down. So my job for brand content got put on hold. All the shorts I had were basically pretty much canceled, and I kind of decided, all right, I'm going to spend the next 2 days being really upset about this, and then I got to figure out what I'm going to do. And I binge watched Death Note, the anime, which I'd never watched before. It was a lot of fun. Watched some good stuff, and I said, this is ridiculous. I can't just sit around and do nothing for the next, however long it's going to be. So I decided I wanted to make a comedy series, and I wanted it to. At the time, I was trying to decide if virtual remote pandemic dating was a thing I wanted to do. So I tried to get into it, but it just was really awkward. And I was kind of like, this is a really funny, this could be a really funny thing to do a series on. So I wanted to, I wanted to do this series, but also I wanted to get it out quickly. And I actually really wanted to work with people, right? Because most of my projects I've written them solo. So in this particular instance, I hit up a couple comedy writers I know, Sarah Franco, Montgomery Burrow, Nick Smithson, and Allison Hayhurst. And I said, do you guys want to try and write this thing with me? We're going to do it all remotely. And they said, yeah. And we started meeting once a week. And the prompt we started with was, all right, what are the, and feel free to pull from life as much as possible, but what are the kind of more absurd things we're all dealing with right now? And then what are let's try to think of absurd people who would be living through these things. And we kind of made a list of both, and then we would take the best character and fit that into the best story, where you get the most drama out of it. And we just started developing episodes. And, we started with it being about dating, but it evolved just into about like anything we could think of that kind of reflected the weird, bizarre life that we all got thrust into when lockdown began.
I like the episode where the funeral and the connection, and it was funny. And that was the funniest one to me. I love that episode.
For me, it was
good.
episode
Yeah, that
6.
was Allison. Yeah, it hits a very serious note. I actually, not to get too real, but my grandmother sadly passed away, not of COVID, but it was during the pandemic, and we did a pandemic funeral, which only a handful of us could go to, and everybody else had to Zoom in. And when Allison brought up that idea for a plot, I was like, this is something we absolutely need to do. So I was very happy she was brave enough to take that on, because that's not an easy topic to write a comedy about. But, I think seeing really awful things, but kind of finding the funny side of it, makes it easier to face those harder things down the line. I don't know if that sounds crazy or expensive.
No, it makes
sense.
No, that makes sense.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, adversity brings about some good things. A lot of times.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the movies that I saw, and I guess they kind of shot it mostly as a project, or kind of concept film beforehand. Came out in 2018. Searching. I don't know if you ever seen that one.
Yes. That's the movie that inspired how we were going to do the show.
Yeah,
you're talking about with
John
in it, right?
That was. I was like, wow, and it's all screens. Like the whole movie's all screens represented that way.
Yeah. That's so right before production shut down, and we knew that production was going to be difficult. The head of video at my job, I work for a freelance for Group 9 Media. The head of video, honestly, genius, guy named Ralph. He's one of my bosses. He basically was like, so watch this movie Searching. We need to take the ideas from here and figure out how we can apply it to what we do every day, in terms of branded content, because it's a way to, we can probably harness something like this and shoot remotely. So when I was trying to figure out how to do a show, I was like, all right, I'm going to watch this movie Searching. And I watched it. I was like, oh, yeah, I don't really know how they did this, but I think we can figure this out.
Right?
Let's write some scripts and we'll see how it goes. And that movie. It's amazing that you mentioned it, because that movie is what inspired the production workflow for the entire series.
That is funny, because I remember I was watching it, and it was an interview from the filmmakers, and they were talking about how long it took, different parts, pieces of it. And it was like, yo, that's perfect for this time now. It's like, well, we're trying to do this concept, and I guess it was something to do with the access they didn't have the access to certain people for the amount of time, so that it was a workaround basically.
Did you kind of bring up the idea of shooting this all through Zoom, or like basically as through screens?
Yeah. When I was putting together the writing team, it's funny because it's like I would explain it to people and they wouldn't know what the hell I was talking about. Like, no, the whole thing's going to be on a computer screen. And I would always say, go watch the movie Searching, and people just still didn't get how it was going to work. But it's pretty much like any other production. You film the footage and then you just have to edit it together and get it to fit the frame that you want it to fit. So the majority of the way the show looks was all done in Adobe After Effects using cell phone footage. And, you can, I think it's very important for the actors to be able to play off of each other. So we had to use a combination of Zoom and cell phones so that, they could self-record, but do it in a way that they were still kind of playing off of each other's performances to get them really in character. The main issue there, though, of course, is that when you're looking at your cell phone, you're not looking at the Zoom, so they kind of had to set it up so it was like the Zoom. Honestly, these actors are incredible, the fact that they could do this. But they pretty much set up their phone next to the computer, so the computer is kind of like in their periphery while they're looking at their cell phone, because through a lot of screen tests, we realized that the best way to make the show engaging is that the actors look directly at the camera that's filming them. If they look a little bit off screen, as it kind of normally does look in Zoom sometimes, it's not as engaging as an audience. But if they're looking directly at the camera, then it looks like, even though the two screens are side by side, it looks like they're talking directly to each other more. So we had to kind of jerry rig the whole Zoom cell phone setup so that it looked like, they're looking at the camera, but still being able to see somewhat the other actor and play off of each other. It was a huge pain in the ass to edit, but it came together pretty well.
I was honestly going to ask you, was this making it easier to edit? But
no,
actually, the opposite, right?
Right.
Yeah, exact opposite.
More power to you.
Because the thing that's interesting about it is because a lot of the episodes are basically one scene in one setting, so you're not really doing multiple takes in a way. Like when you have basic coverage, right? You can kind of cut between the angles and hide when you're cutting from one performance to the next. A lot of these are just, a cell phone video that you go all the way through. So, I was able to kind of, pick, get really detailed with the picking of each performance. But, having it on a cell phone, made it really, really difficult, especially you're dealing with sound overlapping, because you'd hear the sound from the computer with the Zoom. There's a way to do it where everyone could have their, headphones in, and that would get rid of the sound from their actual computer where Zoom was playing. But then to me that, it kind of ruins the show a little bit if every single person has headphones on in every single shot. So I didn't really want to do that. There were some episodes where it wasn't too bad, like the ones where it's just two characters, like Marriage Story, or even the Exorcism episode. It might be thumbs, but the larger episodes, like Where'd You Go, or the Masked Avenger episode with the Zoom bomber, it got pretty difficult. In fact, the Masked Avenger episode with the Zoom bomber is probably the most difficult thing I've ever edited and done the edit for in my entire life, because it was the last episode we shot. And our lead actor, Charles, who plays Dante, had internet trouble the first day we recorded it. So we ended up having my girlfriend, who was over at my house, at my apartment at the time when we were filming, she kind of stepped in and read for him as we recorded everybody else. And then we had to spend another day recording with Charles and just me and a couple other actors reading the lines because we couldn't get everybody. So it's not only is it editing together 8 cell phone videos worth of footage, it's, they weren't even all shot at the same time. So getting them to fit is just very difficult, but it works pretty well. Like, I don't think you could ever tell, especially in the scene of the pitch meeting. Yeah.
Like, how many rehearsals did you have for this?
So kind of the workflow we would go through is we do one reading over Zoom with the whole cast. We just read, don't feel like you need to dial it up to 100%. We're just going to read and kind of find the characters. And we do that. That'd be about, an hour maybe. We'd answer any questions, kind of figure out how to maximize the comedic moments in the script. Everyone would bring ideas. Then I would do a one-on-one with each actor. We wouldn't really rehearse, but we'd kind of do a one-on-one where we talk about character further. And in that meeting is where I would help find the frame with them. Basically, I'd call via FaceTime, and they would, that way I could see exactly what their camera was going to record. Because, when you're doing the Zoom thing, when we're doing the actual recording, I'm just seeing what the Zoom sees. That's not necessarily what their camera is actually going to be recording on the cell phone. So, which, it's kind of a leap of faith from the director's point of view, because I don't 100% know. All I know is that what we agreed upon on this one-on-one meeting is what's going to play out. If the light changes or something, which, luckily it never really was an issue anytime, but, those are things I don't necessarily see translated through the Zoom. But yeah, so during that, we find the frame, I'd FaceTime, we position where the camera's going to be, we talk props, we talk wardrobe, we talk set deck if there was any, we talk through character, and then we would do a, quote unquote dress rehearsal where we would do, a couple read-throughs again, the night before the production day or a couple days before, and we do it in the area that we decided on the one-on-one, we play out the blocking, and then we'd shoot the next day. So minimal rehearsing. Like the idea with this was, a lot of us are out of work. Let's make sure we can make the best of this time without, taking up your time, because I know right now we're all hustling to get, our lives together while everything's shut down. So minimal rehearsing. I mean, honestly, the actors were so fantastic. It didn't really feel like we needed a lot of rehearsing. And also from a comedic standpoint, I don't think you want to rehearse too much, because I think a lot of comedy comes out of the improv that just, people think of fresh while you're shooting. So, right. I wouldn't want to over rehearse it anyway.
Letting the actors do what actors do, basically.
Yeah.
So you definitely left like air out, like a little room for improv when you're all right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I like, I think a lot of the funniest things come from improv, and like those Judd Apatow movies from back in the day are all like I feel like there's so much improv on them, and that's part of the reason why they're so fun.
Yeah, because you have to kind of give the freedom, and I guess if you would I don't know, rehearse too much, then it will almost come off robotic.
Well, that comes down to also the actor, because you have to, not even in drama or comedy or anything that has a script, you have to follow the script enough to get the story down. But of course, there's going to be improv in anything.
Yeah.
Just because it's the actor bringing out the character is what it is.
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to the process. I've read that like the Coen brothers don't, you don't really improv on their movies. They pretty much have to say exactly what's on the page. But then a lot of other times the improv is where the movie's found. So I think it depends on the workflow, but like you said, a lot of it comes down to the actor and what they prefer as well.
Right.
So what would you say are some notable improv moments that was recorded?
Manuel Salazar, he plays Chris, brought a lot of really funny random thoughts to the table to embellish the script, both in terms of blocking and the lines. One of the things I really wanted this show to have to kind of set it apart from similar formatted, Zoom format shows is I didn't want it to be just a bunch of talking heads sitting in front of the screen. I wanted the actors to feel like they could move around a lot. And there's this hilarious moment in Where'd You Go when, and that's what also I think is the power of this, because if you look at every single different box, every character kind of is doing their own thing. So it's not even Chris's or Manuel's moment in the script. It's another character talking to the lead, James, whose date goes missing in the middle of the date. And Manuel's character, Chris, is just kind of drunk, and he starts dozing off, and he just falls off the couch in the middle of the thing, and then his screen is just an empty chair for a good 20 seconds, and then his character pops back up to deliver his line and get back into the conversation. That wasn't in the script at all. He just did that in one of the takes. I remember seeing it being like, oh my god, that's hilarious. That's got to be in the final. That was wonderful.
What made you all want to make this a series rather than just one film?
A lot of it comes down to, well, I just felt like there were so many things to talk about it, we couldn't fit it in just one. film. Like, I like the idea of making a lot of little vignettes in a way, right? Because we've got our own, Marvel Cinematic Universe thing going, right? Where it's a whole bunch of main characters that just kind of pop up in each other's episodes. Like, we kind of follow a core 5 or 6 people, but it really follows the story of multiple people from multiple points of view. Like, each character has their own episode where they're the main character, and then they kind of come and go from each other's stories as they want. We actually wrote 18 scripts. We only ended up shooting 9 that got made into a series, but and then there's another one that will probably come out later on. But, we only published 9 out of the 18, and I think it's just because we had so many ideas. And honestly, we probably could have kept going. If quarantine stayed, if we remained as strictly locked down, we probably would have kept going. I mean, we wanted to dive into an episode where one of the characters thinks he's joining a book club, but it's actually an online, virtual cult, where the culties they're getting together remotely because they can't do it in person. You know what I mean? Like, there was just once, because we had a lot of, kind of, I don't want to say normal, but like everyday ideas, you could say. And then slowly we start getting more and more off the rails with some of the thoughts. So I feel like, I just felt like there's so much to talk about. It couldn't be captured in just one feature. I felt like a lot of little stories and just get them out there as quickly as possible is the way to go.
You said you had like 19 scripts. So how long was the writing process of all this?
It's actually not as long as you'd think. We started in April, and we'd meet once a week, Wednesdays, for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And we did that from April till probably about end of July. And during that time, we wrote 18 episodes, and had ideas for many more that ended up not getting developed. I'd give weekly kind of homework assignments, if you will. Like, all right, this day, next week come in with 3 or 4 more ideas, or, come in with a rough draft. And it was kind of in a way, an aggressive schedule, but, we all had the time and the will to do it. So it didn't feel aggressive.
Right. Creativity.
So
I think when you're cooped up and you have energy, being creative is one of the best ways to expel it.
And like you just wanting to get that out in any way possible. So as far as like the production, just shooting it, was that rather quick as well?
Yeah, I mean, you could shoot a whole episode in 3-4 hours if nothing goes wrong. Yeah, I mean, pretty much you'd get it done in one day. The only one that was the major issue was the one, the last one we shot, the Mass Avenger one, where Charles's internet went out while we were shooting the first scene, and then we had to shoot it again, shoot the rest, all of his parts again later. But most of the time it was just a couple hours. The editing is where it really took a long time, and that's because, you had to sew together all of these individual cell phone videos, and then make sure the sound is good, and then, build out all the VFX, which took a considerable amount of time.
So how long did it take you to edit at least one episode?
It depends. Like, the actual editing process, not very long, but the VFX could take a while. Let's see, I started really getting into the edit in 2021. So it took me about 6 or 7 months to do all the editing. I did most of it on my own. Nick Smithson, one of the writers, he actually directed the Planted episode. He plays Keith, the guy in the potato episode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that just kind of lovable guy that always wants to help, but doesn't really quite hit the mark in every episode. Yeah, I love that character. He edited the Planted episode, and then I finished it off with the VFX. But other than that, I edited all of the other ones on my own. It took me, about 6 or 7 months to get all the edits and all the VFX in place.
Man. And what software you edit with?
Yeah. Premiere and Adobe. After Effects. Yeah.
Like, cool. After you got it finished and filmed and everything, did you have like a private, like a Zoom showing for the actors, or how did you go about doing that?
We never got around to doing that because with everything going on in terms of the pandemic, we ended up shooting with a lot of people who are in a lot of different places. And the funny thing about this show is that all the writers and all the actors, for the most part, have never met in person. Very few of them actually knew each other prior to this. So wrangling people from all over the country, it just didn't really work out. So I kind of said, everyone is going to be posting on YouTube starting this day. We're going to have a new episode come out every 2 days, and I will email all of you the link as it happens. So I just had this release email thread, and I just would send them the new link as they came out. Yeah, so far from what I hear from everyone involved, they're all very happy with it, which makes me very, very
awesome.
Happy.
Yeah, it looks good. So good job to you guys. Kudos to you guys.
Now, the fact that you got actors pretty much everywhere, how did you go about finding actors?
Some of them we had known prior. A couple of them are actually the writers, like Sal, Keith, and Pastor Marge and James are all. Those four are the other four writers that I wrote with. The rest of the actors that we didn't know prior, we did auditions. We put out, casting calls on Facebook, or we would just go through the network of people that we knew. Like, hey, we're looking for someone for this role. Do you know anybody? And they'd be like, yeah, fantastic. And they'd recommend. We'd have them send a self-tape in. We'd take a look at it, and then we'd make it work. I mean, it was mostly through, I guess, so networking and then actual auditions.
Okay.
Remotely auditions.
I would say so. Yeah, y'all's audition was basically through Zoom.
Yeah, it was mostly self-tapes. We'd get a self-tape, and then we'd meet them and try to get a gauge of who this person is and explain to them the little bit of an extra lift that they'd have to do by being involved, right? Because if you're going to be an actor in this, you can't just show up and act. You also got to be willing to do a little extra work of setting up your cell phone. And, one of my goals was to make sure no actor ever spent any money to get this made, right? So if there was set deck that was needed, I would buy it on Amazon and ship it directly to their house. But yeah, it was, everyone was very gung ho about it. I think when there's something creative, it's infectious, and everyone just kind of wants to be a part of it. So I was lucky enough to find people who were on the same wavelength as me.
Now, it looks like you've kind of, like other directors, other filmmakers kind of like hit you up in the inbox or just try to communicate on how you filmed this, because it could, I have to say, in the future, they do it as like a period piece. They may try to do like your style of filming and all of that. Have other directors like tried to talk to you about that?
Yeah, I mean, mostly just the people I know. I haven't been reached out to directly by anyone I haven't known prior, but yeah, a lot of people have asked how it was done. And, it's funny. It's simpler than you would think, but it's a lot of work to shoot something like this. I feel like maybe, if I was to go back and do it again, it would be easier, just because I know what I'm doing now. Or if I was to explain to somebody, maybe they'd find it easier. But, when we went into shooting, I wasn't 100% sure it was going to, I wasn't 100% sure it was going to work out. Like, we shot the potato episode first, and we kind of shot it as a test, test run to see if we could even edit it together. And, the montage sequence when he's freaking out, trying to figure out what outfit he's going to wear, that looked very different in the first couple cuts. And then, that's also through that editing process when I decided, maybe we could bend the realistic rules a little bit, make it feel a little bit more out there by having all those pop-ups pop up. But yeah, it's I don't know. I hope one day people go look back on this and think of it as a period piece. I mean, it very much is. It's very much, it in one sense, it's kind of like timeless in a way that, these are always problems we're going to have. And we never really make COVID a specific character in the series, if you will. It's never, oh, we're stuck inside because of COVID. Oh, this because of COVID. It's always just the characters are inside and they have to communicate virtually. And that's what the story is about. So in that sense, it's not, dated, but at the same time, it very much is. And, one day, I do think I'll be looking back on this and be like, oh yeah, that's what we had to do in 2020. And this is kind of reflecting the reality that we all lived in.
Now, I did notice, no one COVID was never really mentioned at all. Was that deliberate?
Yep. We, because we didn't want it to be about COVID. We wanted it to be about people. I think people always want to interact, and sometimes we can be very clumsy about it. And I think thrusting a whole bunch of people in a world where now suddenly, you know, people of all ages have to communicate over, you know, apps and technology that they don't necessarily understand, makes that kind of clumsy factor, you know, a little bit more, you know, pronounced. Even if you're somebody who, like someone like me, I don't view myself as, you know, typically bad at technology, and yet here we are 2 years in the pandemic, and I still sometimes forget to unmute myself in the middle of a meeting. You know, I think just, yeah. So we wanted to make it specifically about people, what we're all dealing with, and look at it in a, you know, we're all going through this, so we might as well all laugh about how, you know, silly it can be.
Yeah, could be worse.
Sort of lens.
Could be you forget that your video's on.
Oh,
yeah. That could make some bad situations.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of ways this thing can go wrong.
Yeah.
So going into episode 1, who idea was for the potato?
Oh, it was the writers, Nick Smithson. He's also the actor in the episode who plays Keith. Yeah, that was the first one that he wrote when he was just trying to figure out how we were going to go about this. And one of the things when we were working on the series that I was telling the writers, you got to keep in mind is we're not just writing a story, right? You got to keep in mind, how are we going to tell the story, right? How do we make the most of this kind of virtual medium that the story is going to be told through? So, you know, keep in mind, is this a dating app? Is this a FaceTime call? Is this a Zoom conference with multiple people? Is this a live stream? Because that could affect how everyone interacts. So for the Keith one, you know, we have it like searching very much. It's on his computer screen because he's doing a FaceTime call with his mom, and then he opens up the dating app software that we created, that Love Hunt. You know, what's more American than a Love Hunt dating app?
Sounds like a reality show, actually.
Yeah.
You're targeted in the DMs.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah, we just figured it's an extreme America of dating thing. So we came up with the most extreme date app we could think of that would put this Keith character the most on edge, because he's, you know, a nice guy. It's a very intense dating app. And yeah, I think what he was thinking about, and I thought, you know, Nick, I'm terribly sorry if I'm misquoting you, but he was kind of looking at, like, you know, the world we're in, where we're in these Zoom things, we're not just kind of curating what you look like when you go to work. You also got to keep in mind the entire box and who you are is represented by what's in the background. So that's why his character freaks out and starts trying to rearrange his whole apartment once he can't find the outfit that he's trying to wear. And that's kind of the center of the whole thing, which leads to his, you know, unfortunate but kind of genius idea of going as a potato.
Because I was going, the first outfit was fine. How was he going through?
Yeah, but his mom was like, you know, are you going to wear that?
The way she said it did feel like a dagger.
So, you know, he was trying to scramble, and he was like, oh, my goodness.
But once I saw a potato, I was like, maybe you just got to stop talking to your mama. Your mama's making you freak out too much. I didn't see it. And what was great about it, I didn't see it coming. I figured it was going to be something elaborate. I just wasn't thinking potato.
But a little part of me was like, he's a potato. Okay. Let's see how this goes.
The date didn't think so.
You know what this reminds me of? Like, one time I was trying to impress somebody, and I bought a cape online.
You bought
a cape?
A cape.
Superman cape?
A cape.
Okay. I want to hear this.
And I was like, hey, I wanted this to be a super meeting. And oh man, like
wait, this is a date?
No, it wasn't a date. It wasn't a date. It was a professional colleague.
Okay.
And I thought it'd be funny.
I feel like you got demoted.
That sound worse.
I thought it'd be funny.
I was hoping you said it was a date.
No, I
feel like it was, and you got demoted to a professional colleague.
I was like, no, it was professional colleague. And I was like, hey, I wanted this meeting to go super or something like. I said something like that, and they were just like, oh my god. And like,
was it just awkward silence?
They just like stared at me, and I was like, I took the cape off and like folded it up, and I was like, all right, I guess that's over.
That's hilarious.
In my head, I thought I saw that going. Like, there's a website like dedicated to capes, and I was like, oh, I'll buy that.
So
I'll
is
use
this-
it at some point in time.
So is this person like superheroes or like a comic book person? Or
Like,
did you know that?
they had just like watching like a bunch of like Marvel movies or whatever. They went on a marathon with their kids and husband, and I was like, oh, cool. And I was like, oh, I know what I'll do. Spice things up. And I was like, damn, like, what is wrong with me? Like,
What is wrong with you?
That's what we all were thinking.
We'll figure it out one day.
Yeah,
So-
there's those moments where it feels like a genius idea, and then after the fact, you're like, you know what? Maybe could have hit the brakes a little bit there.
I just love the fact that you said you folded it up and you
I don't know.
just.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's those little details.
Thinking about that silence. Everyone's just sitting there watching you fold up the cape.
Man.
That is accidental comedic genius.
It is.
Because
It just
Yeah.
sounds like an episode of The Office. That's what that sounds like.
Yeah,
actually,
yeah. Well,
I was gonna bring
Oh,
up
sorry, what were you
episode
gonna-
6 because it kind of remind me of like maybe an episode of Seinfeld, where he's on a date and the girl
Yeah.
just disappears, and then he just freaks out and he just goes over there. I'm like, that feels like some Kramer would have done, and then she called the police on her. Like, this
Yeah.
is Kramer
Yeah.
vibes written all over it.
yeah. That one's one of my favorites. Which obviously I'm biased because that's one of the ones that I wrote. But that one. That one is one of my favorites because actually, I simultaneous to this, I was in a writers group with a different set of people, just like an accountability group where we're supposed to, make sure we were writing and keeping creative while we were all locked down at home. And in this group, I met I mean, at the time, future, but now my current, my girlfriend. So me and my partner have been, me and her have been dating since, I guess, June 2020, when we first started meeting secretly over Zoom outside of that, Zoom group. We didn't tell them that we started meeting on Thursdays. And anyway, so we're on our first date it might have been the second one. We're on our second date and, she gets up to go get a glass of water, and we're sitting there, and I was like, what the hell would I do if she just didn't come back? You know? Like, what would I do? This is really weird. We don't really know each other that well. And I kid you not, in the 5 minutes that she was gone, the whole episode just came to life in my head. There's the whole thing scribbled out on a pad of paper, just jotted the entire episode down, wrote it in those 5 minutes. Even then, and then afterwards, the rewrites were just minor tweaking. I had the whole thing together. So that's part of the reason why I love that one so much, because that's one of those moments where it's just like, oh man, that's real life. It's not going to go into that. She did come back, by the way. But
I was going to say, because I was getting ready to ask her, she did come back, right? Like,
yeah, no, she's back.
So when she came back, you're like, oh, thank God. But you gave me a great idea.
Yeah, exactly. I think I pitched. She was probably the first person I pitched it to. I pitched her the whole idea right there, and she thought it was hilarious. And yeah, so that one, that one's a really. Actually, no, I didn't pitch it to her. I don't even think I told her. I don't even think I even told her that I was writing it. I think I brought it into our writers group, like, hey, I got this thing, and let's see what all of you think about it.
So did she like make a face or anything while you bringing it up?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, because there's a line in it where the character says, "You're 5'2". That's amazing, and that's literally pulled right from our date because I had no idea how tall she was because we'd only met over Zoom. So as soon as that line happened, she just looked. I could see her looking in the Zoom box like, "You son of a bitch."
Man,
yeah.
Found love and made a project during the pandemic. It's only 2020 wasn't.
Yeah, I lucked out.
Oh yeah,
I lucked out very much.
So
yeah, and coincidentally, she lives 20 blocks south of me in Washington Heights, which was like one of those whoa really moments. That's too much of a great coincidence.
Right.
Okay. So before we let you go, like, you have any other projects are you working on?
Yeah. Actually, I've got a couple. I just finished directing a short horror film written by this. Actually, it's one of the films that was supposed to be shot prior to the pandemic. It's written by this writer named Joe Mercoda. I actually have a hard time pronouncing his name, But yeah, we met. He's an NYU grad. We met before pandemic. We were going to shoot this thing. It got canceled. Then he hit me up last summer, like, "Hey, we're back on." I was like, "Oh shit, that's great." didn't think that was going to happen. And yeah, we just wrapped that shoot. I think visually, especially, I'm in the edit now, but visually, it's going to be, it's probably the project I'm going to be the most proud of out of anything I've ever met, because it's just going to be beautiful to look at. And it was shot by this DP I know, Nick DeLulo, also New York based, and it's my first real dive into horror. So this is a thriller horror, which, most of the time, a lot of the stuff I've done is comedy, which in my mind, kind of operates similar to horror. They're both about, ratcheting up the tension and then releasing it. One makes you laugh, the other one scares the shit out of you. So, this is, it's a horror short. It's called Drifter. We're working our asses off to get it out by, the Tribeca deadline. But, that's going to be great. I'm very excited about it. So we've got that. And then currently, the girlfriend I was just telling you about, Sarah Seeds, she wrote a kind of like post-apocalyptic sci-fi short that we decided we're going to make. So we're now working on it right now. We're hoping to shoot in February.
Awesome. All right. You sound like a busy man.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, sometimes I feel like at some point I should have a social life and go out, but
it's overrated.
No, just make more films. Right? Like, the crew will be your friend.
Bingo.
Yeah, that's 100%. That's kind of where you are. I think when you're in this little film community, that's kind of just the life you live, and it's kind of nice.
Just don't show up with a cape.
Yeah, just don't do that.
Yeah, I'll leave the cape home.
Well, one day,
there will never be a day.
If you ever show up on a set with a cape on,
I probably won't do it to your set.
Well, if you ever invite me to one of your sets, I'm going to show up with a cape.
Honestly, the main reason why I bought the cape is an unbelievable deal. I was like, it's a whole website dedicated to capes.
You bought a cape saying that I'm gonna use this one day.
Yeah, I said I'm gonna use this one day, and then that day came.
You ever think back in your life about like stuff I probably shouldn't have bought?
Oh no, there's a bunch of stuff like that. Like a bunch of stuff like that, a bunch of stories. Like my life is a movie.
I'm saying add the cape.
Oh,
add the cape.
I'll see that comment, but I'll raise you. I think you'll be more disappointed by the things you didn't do. So I think you're always going to be happy you wore that cape. I think. I don't know.
That's a nice thought, but I think that was a reach.
No, I mean, like
so you still got it though, right?
Yeah, I do. I think it's in one of my closets. I'm not sure. But
parts of me do want to see this cape. I just want to see what it looks like.
It's red on one side, the outside side, and it's blue on the inside. It's two-sided.
Got a blood and Crip cape.
Man, come on.
Oh my God! On that note,
Michael, thank you for taking time out for talking to us today.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
That has been our pleasure. I am once again Kevin Mumphrey with my colleagues Karsten Cape Ferguson.
That is not the moniker.
Oh, it is today. And Victoria V.A. Jones.
A red and blue cape.
Yes.
This is we'll fix it and this is a wrap.
Just